Hello, my name is Chloe Folan, and I just wanted to create a short video just to better explain the mechanics of the Monadic Thread workshop coming up. Like that, there was a huge response to the very short video I released about the upcoming group Monadic Thread meditation. So thank you very much to everybody who has replied and may still be getting around to replying to me with the response so far. The September the 16th Monadic Thread Group meditation will be going ahead. I'm very excited. So thank you to those that were able to commit. And for those that did want to, but there was already a prior commitment, thank you very much. You'll still be notified of further Monadic Thread meditation events, because I am hoping to facilitate another group Monadic Thread meditation towards the end of December. And I'll release details about that after the group Monadic Thread meditation on September the 16th. So I'm so excited that it has anchored, that this soul thought form intention has anchored and even gathering momentum for a second meditation towards the end of December. So thank you very much to all who've heard the soul to soul calling. And it also prompted some very interesting emails over people inquiring about the Monadic Thread techniques themselves. So just to be clear, the Monadic Thread group meditations are only for those who have already trained in Monadic Thread, because the Monadic Thread training is a part of that meditation. So you already have to have already been initiated into those teachings and have practiced the Monadic Thread technique before attending a Monadic Thread group meditation. So this brought up some interesting overlapping questions over the joining criteria for Monadic Thread. So you must have, number one, completed Rainbow Bridge Phase 1 properly, because that technique is flawless for properly widening and clearing the central vertical channel properly, making sure there's no tapering, consistent width, and not producing just a temporary glow in the channel that makes it look like the channel is in good condition when it's not. After a couple of days, when that type of energy starts to wane, or even to clairvoyance with deeper inner vision, they would see that you do have to do a certain amount of proper work on the central vertical channel methodically to get it properly wide and clear with no tapering and no stress points. So that must be done first to allow the chakras to align properly and to allow a proper flow of energy through the central channel, to allow the antakarana threads to weave. It creates the foundation for that being able to happen properly and methodically. You then have to have completed a certain amount of Rainbow Bridge Phase 2 work. Rainbow Bridge Phase 2 works on clearing up any remaining external patterns or distortions in the external auric field. And if it's continued to be practiced, it will even then start to work on breaking down and clearing internal patterning as well. But to be able to, the joining criteria, what I look for when someone contacts me to inquire about the Monadic Thread techniques, or if I was to bring up the possibility of someone having Monadic Thread training, what I look for is a proper, clear, wide central channel so the antakarana threads can weave appropriately and the chakras can communicate properly. In other words, a proper flow, proper channel of light being present through the body. I also look to make sure there are no external extortions, meaning no patterning or clouding or thought form distortions in the physical, emotional, or mental auric layers. At that stage, there wouldn't be any spiritual distortions either. So I look for a properly clear auric field, front, back, and sides, as well as above the head and below, because I'm very blessed to have inner vision that can clearly see to that level on a very refined level if that is properly cleared externally. So once that's achieved, clear channel, no remaining external distortions. And I also look to see if someone is fully built to their triad and starting to weave to their monad. And now I'm talking about antakarana threads. So that is the joining criteria. No external distortions, clear channel, already built to triad and starting to weave to your monad. Meaning, I look to see if the life thread of the antakarana is weaving properly. That's the joining criteria. And I have only seen that type of methodical development produced by the Rainbow Bridge techniques, phase 1, with some phase 2 work, or I do have my ray path healing technique as well. But for Monadic Thread, that's the joining criteria, and the reason why I'm strict on that. And Joshua David Stone wrote about this in his Ascension books, that if you, within your ascension process, if it's happened in a bit of a haphazard manner with your ascension process, then you will still have to go back and deal with those distortions. So sometimes I've come across somebody starting to build to their triad, but they still have core woundings and maybe some mental thought form distortions in the third layer of the auric field, but they're building to triad, or very rarely. This happens so rarely. The very rare time I've come across someone building to monad. Keep in mind, I'm talking about when it hasn't been through Rainbow Bridge. So the odd time I have come across, very rarely, the odd person who has done other techniques and is maybe getting built to triad, but there's still pockets of external distortions that need to be worked on for that process to be smoother and clearer. Or same with someone starting to build to their monad when 20 to 15 years of another technique might have finally induced them starting to properly antakarana thread weave to their monad. Same issue, some external distortions remaining. And then I'd be advising the person to still work with Rainbow Bridge phase 1 to correct the channel condition so the antakarana threads can weave with more fluidity. Number 2, then complete some Rainbow Bridge phase 2 work to mop up the external distortions to then make it more viable, more fruitful for someone to then partake of the Monadic Thread techniques. Because Monadic Thread enforces the weaving of the antakarana threads and speeds up internal pattern removal. And I teach it the proper way, meaning coming back to one of my bones of contention with shoddy ascension teaching, which I come across far too often, unfortunately, where someone is told this will help you ascend, and it maybe breaks down a little bit of something, and there's still pockets of distortions elsewhere. Or they're told the technique builds them to their monad, but it doesn't at all. It might have helped them contact their monad, but not build to. So coming back to, and I probably need to create a whole nother video on explaining ascension from an antikorana thread weaving process. Because when it comes to proper, methodical, healthy ascension that is smoother, when it is not done in a haphazard fashion, the only two pathways that I can offer are the rainbow bridge techniques. That would be the gold standard. Phase 1, phase 2, monadic thread, when all external distortions are removed. And the second portion of the life thread is weaving, the personality love thread starting to weave to monad. And then, of course, I do have my ray path healing technique as well, and people teaching that on my behalf as well, but I want to put that in a separate video and talk about that technique separately. But coming back to rainbow bridge and monadic thread technique rainbow bridge, I like to offer people an ascension pathway where you are guided through responsible ascension stages that are safe, healthy, methodical, and produce consistent, steady, integrated results, where the rainbow bridge techniques will fully build you to your soul star, triad, monad, and then when it comes to monadic thread, allowing you to properly, fully build to your monad, build to your ray path symbol, and then ground your ray path symbol, meaning fully ground your star self, your higher self within your matter, bringing heaven down to earth. And it is just awesome how that ascension process evolves, how it spirals. No other technique out there produces those kind of results, or it produces haphazard, what I would call haphazard results, or not fully coherent results, or worse, doesn't do what it says. You know, meaning you're told it will build you a monad and it doesn't. Or you're told it will complete your ascension pathway and it might help with clearing the external bodies. But to me, a proper built light body is externally clear aura, all the chakras nice and clear, nice wide channel, no internal patterns, and all of the antikorana threads woven, and eventually your ray path grounded. That is holistic ascension, whereas some people would define ascension as just clearing the chakras. That's not the full spiritual picture. Or just clearing the external bodies, just having an externally clear aura. That's not the full holistic evolutionary pathway either. That's just one part of that picture. If you are looking for a proper, coherent ascension pathway that does produce results, permanent ones, with clearing the channel, clearing the external auric field, clearing the internal, and very importantly, inducing proper methodical weaving of the antikorana threads and grounding of your star self, your ray path symbol, then that is rainbow bridge. That is the gold standard of ascension techniques. Like I said, I have my ray path healing modality, but I will put that in a different video. I want to talk about that separately because it's a different pathway. So on that note, I hope this video has helped to clarify just a little more publicly what the qualifying criteria is to be able to avail of the monadic thread techniques, and also explaining why. Because one of my own personal motivations with teaching the rainbow bridge techniques is to be a pillar of light, to be a pillar of light for how it's done properly, methodically, and safely. And also being honest about what results are produced, that it does do what it claims to do. So if you want to experience a proper, integrative ascension pathway, where it's methodically given and you're methodically guided, and you're not going to be encouraged to skip steps or do it in a haphazard, irresponsible manner, then that would be my Rainbow Bridge technique classes. But there is also Grey Path Healing. I teach it in a responsible manner where I won't give shortcuts for reasons I've just explained, because if you do it in a haphazard manner and a complex remains, it's only going to bother you badly further along your ascension path. You're going to have to go back and clear it up and still deal with it. There is no skipping steps. You can either do it in a proper methodical manner, which is what Rainbow Bridge offers, or you can do it in a haphazard manner, or spend money on a flawed technique. And unfortunately, there's a lot of them out there, and a lot of false claims out there about what a technique will or won't do. So you do have to be careful with that. Hence, one of the reasons I released the free Antakarana PDF explaining the documented nearly 12 years now, not 10, worth of Rainbow Bridge case studies that I'm still doing, documenting the results, and other people who are developing inner vision capacity through the Rainbow Bridge techniques are verifying the results that are discussed and that have been documented. So what I'm saying about the Rainbow Bridge techniques is and has been independently documented and verified as well. So on that note, I just wanted to see if there was anything else I wanted to say. No, I believe that was all I wanted to share with this post. So I hope this has provided some good food for thought. I hope this has given a very good explanation over qualifying criteria for Monadic Thread, and why I teach in a responsible manner and ask people to follow certain steps properly through their ascension process. It's been very interesting. So if there are any further queries, please feel free to contact me. I can be contacted through my website, www.chloefolan.com. Please do give me, a day or two to answer, because I'm very blessed with a high volume of queries that come in weekly. So please do give me a couple of days to answer queries. I will get back to you. On that note, I hope this video has been insightful and helpful. Soul to soul blessings to all.